Hi, my name is Fiona De Pinto, also known as Drawings in a Drawer on Instagram, and this is the first time I show my face on my YouTube channel. I had not uploaded a video on my YouTube channel for a year, and during this year I've continued to create art. I've taught master classes, had my first solo exhibition, and I see that people continue to subscribe to my channel. And I've decided that it's time for me to give back to all the community that's been supporting me, and I want to start painting and creating more regular content on YouTube and being a little bit more consistent maybe. So if this is your first time on my channel, then welcome. I hope you will take time to click that like button and subscribe, because that really helps the channel a lot. And I have to admit, that was something that was getting me kind of to give up on the YouTube channel, because the growth was so slow, and some of my videos, which especially the art and crime ones, had very little watched minutes, let's say. So I don't really know if that is something that you're still interested in. So please do let me know if you are interested in art and crime ones. Otherwise, I'll drop that series and only concentrate on the painting aspect of things. Talking about art, I want to take you around the city where I live, which is Rome, and maybe do some art shopping together, visiting galleries, having tutorials, and talking about art products and so on and so forth. So if you haven't subscribed yet, please consider subscribing, giving this a chance and staying along for the ride. I hope I produce content that you like, and I am open to any suggestions down in the comment box about things you'd like to see on here. And your support will help me, definitely help me to remain consistent. So let's dive into this video. So the first item we're going to be reviewing today is this Canson Heritage cold press paper. It's 300 GSM and £140, and it's 100% cotton, which is the first thing I check when buying watercolour paper, because I learned the hard way that cellulose paper really doesn't work for me and can really work against you, especially when you're starting out with watercolour. And the second item I am going to be reviewing is this Schmincke palette. Now, I know Schmincke very well. I have other palettes, but this one really stood out to me. I bought it in an art shop in central Italy, in the town of Urbino. And as you can see, it's plastic and it opens up. I think this would be very handy for plein air painters. And there's a lot of mixing space for sure. And it also comes with this brush. It's a Da Vinci number 8, and it's 12 full pans of very vibrant colour. So I didn't add the footage of me swatching the colours, one because it was vertical, my bad, and two because I thought I'd just show you how these paints work by showing you the process for this painting. I like wetting my paper before I paint, not always, but it's something I like to do, and especially when testing new paints, I like to see how the pigment moves organically across the paper. Now, I was expecting these paints to be lower quality compared to my other Schmincke palettes, because I remember them being very expensive, while this palette was around €38, which would be about $42, maybe more or less. And it seemed quite inexpensive for a Schmincke palette. So as I said, I was expecting it to be like Cotman for Winsor & Newton compared to Winsor & Newton professional paints. But I cannot see any difference. It says in the leaflet inside the palette that they are professional watercolours, and they are absolutely super pigmented, vibrant and beautiful. Of course, it was kind of limiting for me having to work with only these paints, because there are certain colours in this palette that I hardly ever pick up, and there's the lack of colours that I always tend to reach out for when painting portraits like Madder Lake red light and indigo and raw sienna. So while mixing the skin tone, I use the cadmium red, the yellow ochre and the ultramarine. The ultramarine was absolutely beautiful and granulates gorgeously. And the paint flows wonderfully on the paper. So this is talking back about bouncing back and forth between the paints and the paper. I hope I'm not confusing you. But I had never tried this paper before. It is glued on 4 sides, which is the kind I prefer to go for now because I don't tape down my paintings anymore, usually if I can avoid it. And everything seems to be working fantastically. I can say that I usually use arches for cold press, and this definitely is up there with arches as for now. I've only done maybe 1.5 paintings on this paper, so I will definitely have to experiment some more to be able to give you a definite review comparison between arches cold press and Canson cold press, but for now I can't say that one is worse than the other. I am loving this paper, actually. The brush that came with the palette is a pleasant surprise. It is synthetic, so it offers a lot of control, but at the same time, it's not as stiff as other synthetic brushes that I've tried. So it was definitely a positive surprise, and I can definitely see myself working with this brush more often again in the future. And I have already used it again since buying this palette, since filming this video. And that was, of course, the brush which I was using earlier in the video, the one with the yellow handle, the Vinci number 8. I have since moved to one of my staple brushes, Silver Black Velvet number 8, which I love to use. So something I realized using this different paper that I'd never used before, using this new brush and this, let's call it limited palette, though it's, as I said, 12 pans, I probably only ended up using about 5 or 6 of them, that if you're stuck, if you're in an art block, which many of us often are, then changing your art supplies, changing your brush, changing the kind of paper you use can really help you to move forwards and think outside the box and come up with something different, even style-wise, and evolve. So if that is the place where you are now, even just simply grabbing a new brush, it doesn't have to be expensive. This is a synthetic brush, so I'm sure it's not expensive if you bought it individually, or grabbing 3 pans of paint that you're not used to painting with really helps you to move forwards. And I really noticed this with me, and in this case especially with this kind of paper, because it does have a different texture compared to what Arches cold pressed has. It's possibly slightly more textured, maybe. I'm not quite sure, but it's different somehow. I still kind of have to figure out in what ways it's different. And this painting is at the moment up in my shop, the original, of course, and I'm having studio clearance for spring, and I will leave the link for that and for all the materials that I'm using in the description box. Also, I have another announcement to make, which is really exciting for me. On June the 1st, I will be finally launching my Patreon. I'm extremely excited for this and very nervous at the same time. And the idea actually came from some of my followers who suggested I should try it. So I'm trying. I'm, dipping my toes in this new, let's call it experiment. And I'm really looking forward and excited to be sharing exclusive content with you. So the further I moved on into the process for this painting, the happier I was that I did not give in and reach out for my, let's call them signature colours, or the ones that I used mostly in my classes that are never missing. So for this painting, I mainly used cadmium red, ultramarine, yellow ochre, English red, permanent green, and I like to use English red and violet, some kind of violet usually, to mix a shadow tone. In this case, there is no purple or violet in this palette, so I reached for the Prussian and I mixed it with the English red. So I definitely give this palette a thumbs up. I really like it. I really like this paper. I absolutely love this paper and I can't wait to work with it some more. This is all from me for today. I hope you enjoyed this video and please share in the comments your thoughts for future videos or about these products if you've used them yourselves. I hope you will check out my Patreon. Remember that my Instagram handle is drawings in a drawer, all in one word, and I will see you very, very soon. Bye.